In this video, we'll look a little more in depth on the amplitude modes B and Parasite. These modes are very similar. The B mode will do a volume ramp on the B signal, which is the instrument signal, and the Parasite mode will do a volume ramp on the Parasite signal, which is your low octave. In order for you to control the ramp, you'll be using the ramp and rate foot switch. Once you hold down, it triggers the ramp up. Once you let it go, it triggers the ramp down. You are also able to invert the ramp by double tapping your bypass foot switch. Now the ramp is going to start from the top and go down, and once we let it go, it gets back to the top. Right now I have my filter router in the center position for amplitude modes. Then I have on the mode toggle, I'm set all the way to the right for the B mode, and I have opened up my instrument signal, the B, and I have rolled back all my low octaves. So I have only my instrument signal running and doing the volume ramp. So the way you set the ramp is the same that you do on ramp mode on the filter modes. You're going to be using your alternate control, so you hold down your bypass foot switch and you set your ramp up and your ramp down. I'm going to add some gain to make things more drastic. The cool thing is that you could be running the other signal in parallel, and only one of the signals is going to be modulating volume. Here I'm going to bring it up my low octave, so I'm going to be ramping my instrument signal and the low octave is going to be always sounding. So this is what it sounds like. Now let's hear the same thing but on the Parasite mode. So I'm going to flick my mode toggle, so now we're ramping the low octave, and I also have my B signal running in parallel. Now let's roll off the B signal. Now we have the volume ramp running only on the low octave, and that sounds a little bit like an electronic cello. Let's hear it up. One very cool feature for this type of modes is that you can set the ramps to immediate. So every time you use your alternate control to set the ramps and you set the ramps to its minimum, that means the immediate change, right? So right now we are ramping the Parasite, so we're ramping the low octave. So if you have both of them set to the same level and we have the ramp being immediate, every time I click it, the low octave is going to show up. It's going to sound something similar to what our Vespa is, but with a low octave. So I'll show you guys a little bit. So as you heard, you could just add the low octave whenever you wanna. You can get creative, use it for riffs, or even, if you wanna play parts where you have more intricate chords where like the low octave doesn't really suit, you can just add the low octave in the other parts. And you could also do the inverse and just have your low octave always running and add your instrument signal as you want if you were on B mode. Those are all different and cool features that you can get creative with and make some really cool things. It is also worth mentioning that on B and Parasite mode, the center control wingspan starts functioning as a tone control for your low octave. Let's hear the different sounds that you can get with that tone control. I have my mode set for the B, so we're ramping volume on my B signal, so I have my Parasite always running. This is what you'll hear. That tone control can be very useful whenever trying to blend the instrument signal and low octave and really finding a sweet spot for them to be together. One cool thing is that if you have a lower gain setting on your instrument signal, making the low octave a little more dark will make them blend in together better and making the low octave sound a little bit more like a clean octave rather than a buzzy octave.